My name is Darren Hupke, and this is Pixels and Polygons, part of the Soundstone Network. Welcome to a new episode of Pixels and Polygons. I am Darren Hupke, the host of the show. If you are a returning listener, thank you so much for coming back and checking out another episode. Hopefully this is another entertaining one for you, and I appreciate you for coming back week after week. If you are new, it's a simple pitch. I sit down with a guest each week and I ask them a video game related prompt or question, and we talk about it. It's 20 to 40 minutes or so each episode. This can stem from topics like what's a underappreciated or below average game you love that doesn't get enough attention, or what is your history with video games? When did you start playing and when did you fall in love with them? Or why do you play the games that you play? It could be a lot of different things. The conversations can go in a lot of different directions, but the point is just to have a great and thoughtful conversation that maybe sparks your own ideas or your own interests as a listener to think about your own responses and hopefully just have some fun along the way. If you like what you hear and you want to support the show, I've got a few different ways you can do that. I have links in the show notes below to everything that I do, and I'll highlight one of those in particular. Pixels and Polygons Quarterly is, as you guessed it, a quarterly magazine about retro video games. It evolved from my retro gamezine project. Instead of covering a single game in a month, it is now a quarterly release where I cover a few different games in each issue. There's an overarching theme with every issue, and I'll have an original essay that ties all of the games together. But in addition to that, you'll have individual game histories and development details, personal experiences from all the different writing contributors, scans of magazines, manuals, artwork, even of the era, like reviews, a lot of details and artifacts if you are a fan of those games or a fan of the games in that era. The goal is to highlight and cover games that maybe aren't the AAA top 10 of all time type games, but games that deserve some attention and maybe forgotten and maybe a whole new generation should discover and enjoy. So hopefully you enjoy what you read. Quarterly release, you can find them on pixelsandpolygons.net in a physical format, or you can find them over on my Patreon in my digital store. A few different options for you, so check those out. Links in the show notes below. With that out of the way, we can start the episode right after an ad from one of our Soundstone Network partners.
Listen to Flashback 64, the chronological Nintendo 64 podcast. Hosts Gooey, McKenna, and friends flashback to the 90s and early 2000s with a look at the Nintendo 64's catalog and its contemporary cultural and historical context. Starting with the console's launch titles and proceeding in release order, we discuss classics like GoldenEye, Super Mario 64, and Star Fox 64, as well as some not-so-beloved games, lesser-known titles, and everything in between. Along with game-specific deep dives, we also cover other bits of pop culture from the time, like films, music, and more. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to a new episode of Pixels and Polygons, a conversational podcast about video games. I am Darren Hupke, and I'm with a returning guest, fellow podcast producer, fellow podcast creator, fellow podcast collaborator. He does a lot of podcasts, I guess. Yeah, a lot of podcasting stuff. But Gooey from Flashback 64, one of the Soundstone Network shows. Plug the Soundstone Network right here. Insert jingle here. Oh, we don't have a jingle.
We don't have one of those.
Darn. Well, got to do it in
seems
post.
like something we should have, like podcasts, like at the top of the podcast, like a Soundstone podcast or something.
Yeah, for the future. Save it for the future. If you guys, if you all would be supportive enough, unfortunately, I'm recording this right after recording with McKenna's episode, so I'm bringing some of that same energy. So I apologize in advance. But if you all just gave us $1, literally go to our Patreon and support us for at least $1. If a few people did that, we'd have enough money where we can make a jingle and actually have these nice things that we want for our shows. But instead, we're slumming it, we're stressing, we're struggling to get by as it is, and y'all are just hoarding those dollars, and you could be giving them to us. So just like Goo has said offline, please, all you bum listeners and you boring, just disgraceful individuals. I don't know why he was saying this about you all as listeners. I respect and appreciate you, but if you just give us your $1, we'll be much more appreciative of you. So
disrespect.
Good,
yeah, you know how I feel about the audience.
Yeah, good to not say any of those things.
I can't deny it. I can't deny it. You got me red-handed. Yeah.
But welcome, Goo. How's life been? How's flashing your back been in the last few weeks?
That doesn't sound right, actually. No, it's been good. We've been really busy. We've been like so for people who listen to Flashback 64, the chronological Nintendo 64 podcast, we do like 2 main episodes a month, first and third Mondays of the month, and then on our off weeks we throw whatever in there. It might be something from the time or another game, like we had you on for Gran Turismo. But we've been recording like back-to-back weeks of like actual N64 flashback episodes. We've been doing that more often, and we're kind of this actually isn't that interesting, but we're creating kind of like a backlog. So like we're scheduled out pretty far ahead. And so we've been pretty busy doing that because we've been playing a lot of games like one right after the other. So it's been pretty fun, though, to like a lot of N64 right now.
At the time of this recording, what are you actively playing on the Nintendo 64 now?
So we just yesterday recorded an episode with Adam and Andrew from the Time Extend Revo and Silent Discographer podcast on Off-Road Challenge, which is like a midway racing game. It's not very good, I will say. And then we are now gearing up next week for our episode. We have a great episode. I'm sure it's going to be great on Mission Impossible for the Nintendo 64. And these are going to come out. We're recording this in like the end of May, and these are going to come out in like August or something. So we're like really
you're getting ahead of
backlogged on this. Yeah,
that Mission Impossible game. So when I was younger, I wanted to be a film director. I wanted to make and produce my own movies.
Hell yeah!
And I had a VHS like camcorder that my grandpa had that I would borrow from him all the time. And my friends and I like set it up on like a little tripod, like filming the screen of our TV. And because I lived in the middle of nowhere and didn't have actors and couldn't do anything, I was like, well, what can I do instead? And so we'd film video games and like portions of games and like voice over the characters as if they were like the actors. And we would use, I remember like trying to do this with Mission Impossible and like the party scene, where he's like, like a waiter and all that stuff, and like walking around and trying to use that as like a casual party, like in like a scene of this quote unquote movie. And then when he left the party, we would just, stop recording. And then we started playing Driver for the PS1 to like drive from one end of the city to the other. It's like, oh, look, and that's seamlessly trying to connect games and everything. And it didn't necessarily work out, but it was just one way I was just forced to like try and be creative in the 90s with the technology that was available to me. So if you really want...
that brings back some memories for me, actually. Like I remember like having some TVs where you could it'd be like VCR built in, and you could like record stuff off the TV. We would record us playing video games on it, like almost like early Let's Plays. And it would just be random, like whatever we were playing. But then we'd just like watch it back and be like, whoa, so cool. And I have like a really vivid memory of like recording Double Dragon and then like watching it back later. And I would do a lot of that. I remember like recording like with my like cassette player, like I had one where it's like, it was like almost like had this little like baby microphone on it and you could record your voice. And I remember like recording myself talking. It was probably nonsense because I was so young, but then I'd also then like record audio of like Nickelodeon shows that I was watching, almost like I was like DJing them. So maybe I've always had like the podcaster drive ever since I was a kid, doing Let's Plays and and radio shows or podcasts.
That unlocks like a memory of mine that was like completely gone until this moment. But I had the Talkboy brand like hand recorder, like from Home Alone 2. I had that, they manufactured that and actually sold that and everything, but you could just record onto a tape. But where I lived growing up, we didn't have access to like cable TV or anything. We just had like the basic channels, but like when we'd go and visit family for like the summertime, when we go to an aunt or an uncle's house or a grandparent's house and they had cable and we'd watch Nickelodeon, I would use my Talkboy and like record episodes of shows, and like I'd listen to like on the drive back home or even back at home without cable, like being able to still listen to like Hey Dude or like whatever random old like Nickelodeon TV shows I was watching, but just the audio of it. And like that was enough for me to like remember it and like, visualize it and everything like that, but I just didn't have access. So I was just bootlegging the audio of it for myself to listen back to later. It's so weird.
Yep. I don't know why I would do the exact same thing. Don't know why, but that entertained me. So
yeah, okay. Well, that's old technology that y'all don't ever have to deal with because everything's instantly streamable at your fingertips right now on whatever device you're listening to this podcast on. All right, Goo, that's a long intro. Welcome to the show.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Thank you.
You want to jump into an icebreaker?
Yeah.
This is very simple. It's very simple. What was the last game you rolled credits on?
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll save thing I was going to say for later. The last game, I think I rolled credits for, obviously, like there's a bunch for podcasts. So I'm just going to throw those out the window because like it was like homework almost. I want to say the most like recent game I just played for fun and actually rolled credits on was Resident Evil Requiem.
A modern
which
gamer. Wow.
Yeah, I am playing some modern games as well, sort of. But yeah, that was one I was really looking forward to, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty good game.
Yeah, I've mentioned it on the show a few times, but I just cannot play horror games anymore as an adult. And I guess I was playing them as an adult, but in my 20s, it was much different than it is for me in my late 30s. There's like the anxiety to entertainment balance. It is far more anxiety than entertainment for me these days. I just can't do it. So I've been considering, and this is a long time, I've also been saying that so much on the show, is that like I've got the advice from Andre from Fine Time to just play it on an easier difficulty, and you can still experience some of these games. I'm like, oh yeah, that's smart. I should do that. And so I've gone to as far as downloading Alan Wake 2 because I really wanted to play that, but I've yet to actually boot it up to put it on easy difficulty to then try and play it or anything yet. But I've made progress, I guess. It's physically downloaded, so I'm close to being able to play it.
I definitely relate to that. Like when I've tried to play, and I think I'm going to try again. I might have told the story before too, but like I tried to play a Resident Evil 7, and I think the moment you go into like the house and you shut the door and it's like pitch black, I was like, nope, I like turned it off. I was like, can't do this. But and I'm still kind of like that. But some of the other Resident Evil games allow you third person, and I feel like that makes it a little less scary to me. I don't know why, but so, and I know they added that to 7, so maybe I'll go back and give it a shot because like playing like Resident Evil 4, I don't think anyone thinks that's like too scary of a game. It doesn't scare me. Resident Evil 2 like remake, not as scary as Resident Evil 2. I think it's just because, like, I don't know, I can see. I have more control over what I can see, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, which is interesting. I had the exact opposite thought when I was trying to play Resident Evil 7. I had a PlayStation VR, and I was like, you know what?
Right.
Like, let me just put the VR on, because if I hear anything, I can just quickly look around and I'd be able to see it and everything. So my logic was to play that for 45 minutes and then realized, you know what? I don't think I'm ever going to play this game again. I'm just going to watch a friend play the rest of this, and I'm out. So not smart. Not smart. But Resident Evil Requiem, that's cool. I mean, it's a good one. I've heard those, like, who's it? Ashley? Is that her name? No. Who's the girl you play as? Is it Ashley?
Grace.
Grace. Okay.
I think it's Grace. Yeah.
Yeah. Those, I've heard of those. I mean, even from the demo that I saw, like, those segments look just as scary and claustrophobic and dark as anything I saw in Resident Evil 7. So I think if you can do those, then you should be able to do Resident Evil 7. So give it a shot.
Yeah, because that was kind of like a gap I had. 7 and Village, I didn't play either, even though it looked a little bit more in my wheelhouse. And I went back to the Requiem, because it seemed like, this is kind of like threading the needle between old and new. And I had played the 2 and 3 remakes. And so I feel like this is a good entry point where I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back, I think, and check out 7 and 8. But it's one of those things where it's like, if I play like a big, like, I'm not someone who finishes like one game like that and then can jump into like another one in a series. I need like some time. I need like palate cleansers, even more than one, you know? So we'll see. I'll go back eventually.
That's funny. I remember this must have been, this was last year, but the Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D game had come out, but I had just finished playing the Suikoden remastered, like HD, collection as well. So I played Suikoden 1, just a throwback retro pixelated RPG, and then I went and started playing that Dragon Quest, and then I finished the first Dragon Quest in that, and then I went back to the Suikoden 2, and I was just going back and forth between pixelated remastered like HD RPGs, and in my head I was thinking like I should be burned out on these, but my body was telling me like, no, keep going. These are highly entertaining. These are your cup of tea, Darren. So I kept going. So I like some games I do need to do that. Some even like a length of games. Sometimes if I spend like a long time with a game, I do want to play like a short game or like maybe like a little bite-sized indie game or something like that. But for the most part, I don't let one dictate the pace for me on like the next one. But okay,
for me, like big open world games are definitely like that. I remember I got like during peak COVID, got like the Ezio collection, because I've liked a handful of Assassin's Creed games, but I haven't finished all of them. And I played 2 because I'd never finished that back in the day. And I was like, okay, that was cool. It was an Assassin's Creed game. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll start playing whatever the next one, and that is the follow up to that. And it's like, I don't know if you've ever had like a really big meal and then like gone grocery shopping. But for me, when I do that, like food like disgusts me, like when you have that meal where you're like, I think if I ate like one more fry, I would have like vomited, basically. Sorry to talk about that on your show, but yeah, then it was like that where I started playing the next Assassin's Creed game and I was like, oh, like this is disgusting.
No,
I can't do this.
We're not doing this again so soon. No. Oh, that's funny. All right. Well, you came here to answer a question. So it's time to ask the question. Like I said, what's interesting is I had just recorded with McKenna, your partner in the Flashback 64 space, and she answered this exact same question. So if you want to go back in the podcast feed, you can listen to that. It should be just a few episodes back from the time when this is released. But for you, Goo, same question. Do you interact with games outside of playing them? So what other ways do you stay involved with this hobby? So reading, writing, talking, drawing, etc. What is your life outside of gaming? Obviously, we know of Flashback 64, but I'd be curious. Yeah. You were excited to answer this question, so I'd love to hear, what this means to you.
Yeah, because I was thinking about it. Like I've basically my whole life, I've always felt like, and I'm sure everyone feels this way, where you almost have like too many hobbies, right? Like you were talking about, you wanted to be a filmmaker, and now you make books and you podcast and stuff. Like I'm sure you can relate to this. I've always been like that, where I was into music, and I always felt like, oh, I'm not that good at music, but if I like actually dedicated myself more to that as opposed to X, Y, and gaming, or like I was in college for a time, and I've always felt like, I like can't keep my mind straight. I'm always just like a new thing comes. And so like doing stuff like the podcasts and stuff, like it kind of helps me, like just kind of give me homework almost, like keep me on like with the Flashback 64, like I always know like I've got something coming down to play. And like for my brain, like that really helps me stay connected to gaming, no matter what else comes up that I have to do. And it's really made it, kind of the main focus of my life now at this point. Like I only do music a little bit, and I'm pretty happy with that. But then the flip side of that is that once it all becomes homework, it's like, well, now you're doing a bunch of homework, and it's like that thing of like, well, you also want to maintain gaming for fun and not just because you have to, which I still get excited. Like when we were playing, I get excited about whatever our next episode is. So it's not like I don't often get too burnt out by that or anything, but so now I'm having to find, it's like a third hat on top of it, where I'm like trying to stay connected to just like casually gaming, especially with like a retro show, like, modern, like trying to play games that are like current. And, so the thing I've been doing lately, that's why I was excited to answer this, because I feel like it comes full circle, where I've really been taking advantage of checking games out from our local library. And like a lot of the libraries in our area have current games, like all the way up to PS5 and Switch 2 and stuff like that. And I've got a couple like games that came out this month, like on hold. I have to wait because people get on them right away. But if you go there right now, there's a lot of like current games you can get. So I want to encourage people to check that out, and also maybe try to, get a book as well, which is something I've also been making more of a conscious effort to do, which is read more, that's even farther outside of gaming, unless you're reading, something about gaming.
Yeah, like, some quality gaming books like you can find at pixelsandpolygons.net.
But I've also taken to a lot more of like being okay with like, especially now because I'm just getting these games, I'm not even purchasing them and like having them fill up my backlog. But I've been really like accepting, like, I don't even have a backlog. Like there's no such thing as a backlog, and I just play whatever calls to me, which sometimes is hard to decide if I don't have an assignment. But I've really taken to, I'll check a game out from the library, and if I just feel like it, like just accepting that, like, hey, I can like stop this for now, get another game, play that for a little bit, and then maybe I'll come back to this one. So I've been like sampling a lot of games. One of them was, I just returned, you mentioned the Dragon Quest 1 and 2 remake. I was playing that for a little bit. I didn't complete it, but I really enjoyed it. And I might go back to it, but I've been trying to do that just to kind of expand my like gaming knowledge about what's going on, because I feel like for years I was always kind of behind, and I still kind of am. I don't have a PS5 or like a nice PC, but I've got a Switch 2 and a PS4, so they have a lot to pick from in that regard. So yeah, I've taken a very much like just sampling, and if a game really hooks me, I'll complete it. But otherwise, I might just try something else just to see what else is going on in the gaming world, and it's been pretty nice.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, I like the way that you found that way to like balance your quote unquote backlog. Like, I made a big change that way myself a few years ago, where I would buy games and have them like stacked up on my shelf and available to me. And it was like, oh, brand new game. I want to play that game. So I'm gonna go out and buy it. And I just have it sitting around and everything. And then, there have been times that, like, you know, year plus later, the game is still like sealed, sitting on the shelf, you know, behind, you know, like
I have
whatever.
a lot of that.
And like, I just like made a decision. It was just like, you know what, like, it doesn't mean I'm not a quote unquote real gamer if I'm not staying like absolutely current with all these things. Cause like I'm still am playing some of the things. I'm just not getting around to all of it at the pace at which, you know, I was trying to buy them at. And so like I made the mental decision to just like, the only reason I should be buying a game is because I'm ready to play that game in that moment. And I don't have to play games just one at a time. Like, you know, a game like Dragon Quest would be like my primary game, but then I could also play like, you know, Balatro or like some fun, like, you know, like quick turn and burn type of thing, or like an online like multiplayer type of thing, you know, like doesn't require you to like constantly be at it. Like, so you can spin 2 games, maybe even 3 games on at a time, you know, in my mind. But like I wouldn't actively make a purchase or go out and like download or buy a game until like I was absolutely done with the, you know, main game I was playing at the time. And me not buying all these games like just made it by the time I got around to playing them, they might be on sale. They might be available for like a lot cheaper, or they might be like, you know, just free to download from these services that I pay for anyway, you know? And so like it brought me like a lot more sanity and a lot more free time, but it also let me just like focus on just having fun with the games that I was playing and not like, oh, I need to hurry up and get through this because I have these like 5 games staring at me right now and I've got to like finish this one just so I can get into this one. Like it almost felt like it was trapping me into like not enjoying just like the present moment of interest in having fun with whatever game was in front of me, and just play it until it's fun too. Like I was okay with also not rolling credits and not like having it be like definitively done. Like when the game stopped being entertaining, I just made my peace with that. Like, you know what? Hey, I got my fill of this. Like I did enjoy this. I saw enough of it and got, you know, it got its hooks in me, but you know, now like for whatever reason, I'm done. I'd like to move on. I'm going to move on to something else. Maybe I go back to it. Sure. But like, I just, I'm not like frivolously like trying to jump around or like beholden to trying to stay so current with all the newest games. I'm just playing them as they come, and you know that lets me still stay current with some of the bigger ones, but like it just keeps me at my own pace and my own way and all that stuff. So it's kind of more of a healthy sanity break as well too, to like play in that way that you're describing as well.
Yeah, especially like you also have to like, I've been trying to let go of like FOMO. Because I've always had that. Because like there were, like I said, I've mentioned this a lot before, but there were periods where I was more engaged with like music and stuff. So I'd be just like, I'd have a really hard time. Like I'd often bring like portable gaming devices with me on like a tour or something and be like, I'm going to play this on the road. And sometimes I did. And then other times I wouldn't. And I was never up to date with modern gaming consoles. And then now that I am a little bit closer to that, there's just so many games coming out all the time for every platform. And I've just accepted like, I'm never going to be up to date, but it's nice to kind of like dip in and sample different parts of the somewhat modern gaming landscape.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what spurred on that change? Like, what was the thing that made you like, you know, start to like play games and explore games in this new way for you? Like, what do you think brought that on?
Well, I think specifically it was like it is more recent, like this year, because I've kind of tackled gaming different ways in different years, but I definitely had that this year. Actually, one of the more recent things that really solidified it was after beating Resident Evil Requiem. Then like I got it and I played it like really quickly because I loved it. And I don't regret buying it or anything. But then like a week or two later, I went to the library and like they already had it. And I was like, well, you know, with the discussion of like how much games cost these days and stuff, it's like, you know, it didn't put me out buying it or anything really. But I was like, man, that is some, I could have still had that money. And, you know, I could have played through this in a week for sure. So that really, like, I already sort of had this thing where I was just trying a bunch of different games, but that really kicked it into overdrive where it's like, oh yeah, like I have access to a lot of current games. And if I really want something that they don't have, like I'll just buy it, but otherwise I can wait. So it's been a lot more recently, but I've got a lot of games on hold that my library says they have, but are checked out. So I'm waiting. I'm going to be playing Pragmata whenever someone returns that, and the new James Bond game they're gonna get. So like surprise, like big games. So PSA for people, like not everyone has access to that at their local library, but I would say go check it out, because I feel like we did last summer we did a tour of a bunch of libraries in like the surrounding counties, and it was like you go to X amount with like a punch card, and they give you get like a reward, like a gift card or something. So we did that, and they all had video games. So
that's really cool.
I think that helped too.
Yeah, I mean, I like this unique like take on this question as well. I mean, like it's how you can interact with your games, like in an outside the quote unquote like normal like industry of it all. Like you have access to these things in a way that maybe you don't realize, like so close to you, and in a way that can let you like get them and get them in a timely way, even too with such modern things. Just check out your local library for sure. But that's really cool. Was it exploring the library that you like for that thing you did last year? Is that what made you discover that they carried games? Like how did you discover that your local library had games available?
I'd actually known for a while, because there was another one in like a town over that I lived in that had games, and it was actually kind of the opposite problem, where I remember being like, I could check this out, but am I really gonna play this? It was almost like that thing you were describing of like not wanting to get a game till like right when you're ready to play it. And so I was always held up by that. Like I could check this game out, but like, it's not I'm just like not 100% excited about it. So like, am I really going to play it when who knows what else I'm going to do? And I think what really did it was just realizing that, it's okay. Like, and it's okay to play a game and like not finish it and bounce off of it, which I always kind of knew. I've always told myself that, but that really solidified it. So, but yeah, the tour really helped me see how like widespread that was, at least in my area. And it's like we live like far out, like barely even the suburbs of Chicago anymore is like where we live. And some other libraries we went to were pretty rural, and like even they had like a pretty solid selection of games. So it's cool.
That's cool. Well, I mean, we did the thing. We answered the question. Any other like final thoughts or any lingering points maybe you wanted to make sure you got to before you missed, or anything you'd like to plug or share or promote before we wrap up? Go.
No, I mean, just check out your library, get some books. Get some books on gaming. Also, I would recommend maybe some of Darren's books.
Yeah, my books are available to libraries. Actually, as you're saying that, I got a notification on Amazon. I get like when I can see when a book is sold and like what my estimated royalties are going to be, and 2 copies sold in the UK somewhere, but it was for like a very low amount. And I was like, why am I only going to make $3 off of this book sale? Like, this doesn't make any sense. But I signed up to be in this expanded distribution program. And so it allows like via Amazon's like service there, like libraries and bookstores to purchase the books at like this expanded distribution rate type of thing. So some library and or bookstore in the UK ordered a couple copies of my books, and so like I'm curious awesome to know where those show up. But I mean, that's how libraries work. Like you can go and request the books that you want to have them see, and they may order that depending on their budgets. So while you're going to your library and investigating if they have video games available to you, stop by the counter and ask if they order the 32-bit library books, and let them be a stockable book there in your local library. Maybe that's a good way to support the show. Just something thinking outside the box. This is a thinking outside the box type of answer right here for this question. So that's a very think outside the box way to promote my books. So I will put obviously The links in the show notes below. The Soundstone link is always down there. So you can find all of our Soundstone Network shows and partners, Kirby Conversation, Millennium Edition, and Flashback 64. You can support Flashback 64 on their Patreon as well for as little as $1. Get access to their episodes and bonus episodes. Help them out. It's just $1. Quit being cheap. Quit being a weirdo. Don't make Goo badmouth you off air again. Just give them the $1. Just do it. Okay.
I'm seething. Yeah.
But that's all we got then for this week. Thank you again, Goo, for doing the show. Please come back.
Thank you.
Yeah, please come back anytime. And listeners, please come back next week. Will be a new episode every Friday as usual. And so I appreciate you listening. If you have not done a review or a 5-star rating or whatever podcast platform you're listening on, if you haven't done that, please consider doing that. I forget to say that and share that and ask for that, but that does help somewhere. People tell me that. So maybe consider rating and reviewing it. But otherwise, have a great rest of your day. Everyone have a good afternoon. Goo, take it easy. Goodbye.
Hello, we are Kirby Conversations, a podcast on Kirby along with adjacent subjects like Smash Brothers, HAL Laboratory, and other related Nintendo games.
In each episode, we take an in-depth look at a new Kirby topic, drawing on our decades of experience with the series. I'm Sean Douglas. I'm a writer and podcaster with a background in video game and theater journalism.
And I'm Gigi, the editor-in-chief of Kirby and a big Kirby fan from Brazil. I translate Kirby interviews from Japanese to English and research a bunch of obscure Kirby media.
And I'm Bridget, a longtime fan, commentator, fan artist, and Kirby collector.
Join us for a mix of commentary and original reporting, deep dives into Kirby history, interviews with industry professionals, and more, as together we explore all things Kirby and HAL Laboratory. We're a proud part of the Soundstone Podcast Network, and you can find Kirby Conversations on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.